Ariana looked great. Andy looked great. What did we think about them hosting?
I thought this was my first experience with Andy, and I thought that he was a really good host.
Me too.
And Ariana was just kind of there.
Me too. Andy knows what the fuck he's doing. He's a pro. He's the best in the business for a reason.
Yeah.
He asked the pointed questions. He asked the followed up questions. It was hilarious. At one point with Huda, we were saying like, you know, us sitting on the couch, we're like, but how? And then Andy would be like, but how did you? And then we would be like,
single time.
but when? But when? We'd collectively say, but when? And then Andy would be like, but when did you do that? And so
we're like, who's the bullies? Andy's like, who is your bully? And we're like,
Like, took the words right out of my mouth.
Andy, yeah.
Ariana, I felt as though when she was chiming in, she was asking too broad of questions. There was at least 2 times where she opened it up after the original, you know, final 4 couples were on stage once they had like the little riser bleacher situation. More of the cast is out. She's opening up the question to the group, being like, and what does everyone think about that? It's like, and then Elon's chiming in randomly about like a situation with Amaya, and we're like, we don't give a fuck what Elon thinks about this. Ask Amaya or ask Huda. Like, it needs to be a little bit more, you know, calling people out, which Andy, of course, is amazing at.
Speaking of Amaya, she irritated me at this reunion.
Yeah,
she's irritating to me overall at this point. But at the reunion, she just seems to lean into that America's Sweetheart thing a little bit too much. And then there was a portion where they played back what Huda felt was bullying, where they were talking about the way that Huda treated Iris in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, they were all together on the couch, yep. Sierra included, talking about the way that Huda had been treating Iris.
Yes.
Huda turns around and like sees them and like does some weird strutting thing, and they all kind of are like, what is she doing? Yeah. Anyway, she felt like that was bullying. And then when they cut back to the entire group on the stage, Amaya's like, yeah, that was mean. Amaya, shut the fuck up. Oh my God. You're so annoying. You never have anything to say. Any other time, you don't have shit to say. This is the time when you decide to open your mouth and say that's mean. Not when we're talking about George Floyd photos being placed on Alandria's face.
Yeah.
This is the time you decide to open your mouth? No. I hate it. I don't like it at all.
See, Amaya's always been annoying to me, as you
sure
guys
did.
know.
You did
so
say.
like now I feel so neutral, indifferent. She comes on the screen and I'm just like, her mug, her face card absolutely doesn't decline. Like the green eyes, the skin, like I just see her and I'm like kind of enchanted by how beautiful she is.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything, I'm very indifferent towards her personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that she didn't really have anything important to add to any of the conversations.
No.
And she and Brian sitting there, I didn't buy that really either.
Yeah,
no.
And especially now that we know that they're broken up.
Exactly.
Like, okay. And this is, again, Love Island was so weird this season. That's our winner.
Yeah.
The person we give the fuck about the least is
We're
our
like,
winner.
we don't care what they have to say. Let's get to the other
Like,
stuff.
Yeah,
Shut up.
it just all happened real funny, and we know why, because they made some very interesting decisions with who to vote off at certain times,
They
which was a big
did.
conversation, which is, you know, partially why I think we're in this, you know, we got this result where you're kind of like, we're not very excited about the winners. Huda stayed on for super long. People who should have left stayed, and people who got voted out should have had a chance.
Like Hannah.
Like
and we got to
Hannah?
see the way that played out. And it really broke my heart when they all counted down and everybody at the same time said Hannah, and Hannah had to watch that and immediately started crying. I felt bad. I felt really bad for her.
I did put myself in those shoes and was imagining.
Imagine
Everyone saying
all of us
Fiona.
are sitting around.
Yeah.
Me, Emma, Hannah, and Colette are sitting around.
And
You're over there thinking we're saving you. We count down and we all say Fiona.
3, 2, 1 Who should get voted off Daily Dirty? Fiona.
You would be so mad. I don't even feel like your initial reaction, I don't think would be to cry. You would be so fucking mad. I feel like Fiona would cuss each of us out individually.
Would
I feel like either she would think about it and come back and cuss us out later, or she would cuss us out right then and there.
No, literally. I felt bad for her.
I have empathy. I have empathy for Hannah. That's hard. That's hard to watch.
That
like
was really hard.
It is personal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Your peers who you're on this show with are deciding like who do we want to boot from the show and who do we want to save. And we got this BTS conversation of some of the girls, including Shelly, Alandria,
there we go.
Shelly. Sorry, I said that. Sierra.
Sierra.
Maybe one other, or just the 3 of them.
Huda.
And Huda.
And Huda.
Yeah.
And it was weird because Hannah and Pepe at that time had a really strong connection. And previously, Hannah had a really strong connection with Charlie. So she was making great connections in the villa.
And Iris was the other option to get voted off. And Iris didn't have a connection with anybody at that time.
Yes.
Also, Amaya was another option to get voted off.
And they didn't even getting rid of her. Yeah,
which I thought was interesting too. They were like, she's not even an option.
She's an original. I think like they feel beholden to the original girl.
Amaya's not an original.
She sure wasn't.
She came in
she
late.
was the first bombshell.
Remember, she jumped up on Jeremiah.
Yeah. No, wow, yeah.
Because that's what I was like.
Oh, her and Hannah came in
She wasn't even an option because I felt like she should have. She also wasn't in. Hannah should have. To me, Hannah was the one that had the strongest connection. It should have been either Iris or Amaya, and Amaya wasn't even an option.
And it still wasn't super clear what their thought process was. The only thing that became clear from us watching that BTS was that maybe who we thought Ace was, Shelly is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shelly might be a little bit of a ringleader.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is the thing that I gathered. It seemed like in that BTS conversation of the girls discussing who they wanted to vote out, Shelly wasn't really upfront about the fact, and none of them are. And you guys might know this more about Love Island, but everyone's beating around the bush. They voted Hannah out because she's a threat, because she was going to make it all the way and she could have won the money. No one's talking about the money. No one's talking about the game of it all. So that's what always kind of rubbed me the wrong way sometimes about Shelly in her dialogue and conversations, and she was never really calling it what it is, but none of them do. So that's what it felt like. And then on the reunion, when they're confronted about it, no one can say it with their chest. Hannah was a threat. She was making good connections with people. She was falling in love, crying over the photo with Charlie. like that's why, quite frankly, I think you guys voted her out.
Yeah, and that makes total sense to me. I do wish that they were a little bit more forthcoming.
I wish they were more forthcoming.
And I wish that Shelly in particular was more forthcoming about who she disliked, because I think that made her look weird on the season too many times.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't think she liked Hannah.
Yeah.
Just like that's okay. You don't have to like everybody. I don't think she ever liked Huda. Yeah. But she was never forthcoming about that.
When Austin was like, you like certain members of your family more. I was like, honestly,
and that
he kind of ate with that
is
line.
a fact. And that is a fact, right? We don't expect you to like everybody or to like everybody. Yeah, you're in a house with a bunch of strangers. Inevitably, somebody's going to be somebody you don't like.
Yeah. Should we also talk about Jeremiah getting voted off and kind of the confrontation that he had with Ace and just kind of like Austin being involved? Because it was a similar situation where Jeremiah and Huda had the whirlwind relationship, Hurricane Huda. We saw it. They decided to split. And then very quickly when Andriana, I believe I did that right, came in as a bombshell. She's a baddie, Miami girl, gorgeous. She and Jeremiah hit it off, and they proceed to boot Jeremiah right away.
Yeah, they got him up out of here.
And they said, especially Ace, that he's a love bomber and a scammer. And Jeremiah came on. I left the reunion really liking Jeremiah a lot more because he was calling it like it is. He was being forthcoming. He was being real. And that is what I like from reality TV.
Same. Yeah. I liked him more from the moment he left the house. Like after he got his phone back and his social presence, I was like, oh,
he's
okay.
Cool.
Yeah. He has like a level of self-awareness. He's like he's not afraid to be confrontational. Yeah. And I like that.
Me too.
He was commenting on some TikToks saying that a lot of his confrontation with Ace got edited out. So there was actually more there. And I'm like, you should have shown us that.
No, I agree, because even in the preview or in the trailer, it looked like they had more confrontation than what we actually got to see.
Yeah.
Like they duped us a little bit.
I just loved Jeremiah's responses. Like, the words he was using when Ace was coming at me, like, right, okay, but I'm gonna correct this right now. Like, I don't know, he was articulating himself well, I thought. And Ace, we were noticing, voice was shaky.
Ooh, my boy was shaky.
My boy was shaky, and he wasn't really making a ton of sense. He wasn't at least explaining himself well. And I know that you're under a ton of pressure, and like cameras are on you, and it's about like, you know, your interpersonal relationships. It's hard, but some people really take that moment and take this as an opportunity to get things off their chest. And I thought Jeremiah did a good job at doing that.
Where I felt really bad for Ace is when he was in the middle of a shaky sentence and Jeremiah starts laughing in his face. Oh, I felt so bad.
I could feel Ace like just crumble, and I was just
like, oh no, I can't watch this.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to watch. It was kind of hard to watch Ace, like his nostrils flaring, like he was getting so heated, but like he wasn't like saying much of anything.
No, he wasn't. Jeremiah
so that was kind of a bummer.
Laughed and kept making good points.
Yeah, he kept making good points. And then we got to touch upon Shelly, Alandria, Huda conversation. I guess quickly
and
mention.
Let's throw Chris in there. Too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's throw Chris in there.
Yeah.
Let's quickly mention also that Coco and Alandria came out with the best beef of the night.
It was so good.
I said, yes, girls.
And I like Coco turned to Andy, said, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Said,
no, I'm talking.
No, I'm talking. I said, woo.
I said, Andy, go.
She be watching her Real Housewives.
Yeah.
She knows how to handle
it.
Yeah,
that's
true.
She
said, you're not gonna talk over me, baby.
Yeah, I have things to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really need to get into the details too much, but basically Coco said something on a podcast about Alandria and then tried to DM Alandria saying like, hey, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Alandria was like, yeah, I read your DM, wasn't fucking with it.
Yeah. Wasn't fucking with it.
Love how she said that.
She said, yeah, I saw it. Wasn't fucking with it.
Wasn't fucking with it. Damn.
So it seemed like not really squashed the beef. I don't even really know how that conversation ended, but
at least they had an opportunity to bring it
air
up.
It out.
Yeah.
And then let's get to the Shelly, Alandria, Huda, and Chris on the side of it all.
Yeah. Where do we start with
Well,
this?
let's start with Alandria and Huda were good friends in the villa.
Right.
And they confirmed that last night at the reunion.
Apparently, everybody was good friends with Alandria. That's
Yes,
really what it
seemingly.
seems like Shelly is Alandria's best friend. Huda seemed like she was Alandria's best friend. Taylor seems like he loves Alandria suddenly.
Totally.
Like,
Outside of the house, you're my dog.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, okay, everybody was besties with Alandria.
Yes. And they seem to have a great relationship. Shelly and Huda a little more up and down. The heart rate challenge, which I guess we also should mention. But yeah, Alandria, in a really emotional moment was like, Huda, I asked you after the villa. We were cool. We were friends.
Yeah.
I was getting bullied. Shelly and I were on the receiving end of a ton of racism, including getting photoshopped onto George Floyd's body.
Yep.
And I asked you to make a public statement to your fans to stop bullying us, and you didn't.
Yeah.
And you said you would, and you didn't.
And this is why it's important to use words that mean what they mean. We've dulled the meaning of bully so desperately that people hear the word bully and don't think anything. Mm-hmm. That's why when Huda kept saying she was bullied in the house, you weren't fucking bullied in the house. If anything, you felt ostracized in the house.
Yeah.
And maybe that's correct.
Yeah. Feeling a little socially awkward is different than being bullied.
Different than the other girls and feeling like they picked up on those differences is different than being bullied in the house. You know who's being bullied?
Shelly and Alandria.
And I'm not saying that Huda's also not being bullied online.
Yeah.
She very likely
wasn't
is
being bullied in
online,
the house.
But she wasn't being bullied in the house. She didn't seem to feel bullied in the house until she got out of the house and saw that people said that she was being bullied and decided that she was being quote unquote bullied.
And used that. Yeah. And Huda was gaining at this time when Alandria asked her to make the comment. She had a huge fandom. She was growing. And she also, I think in that moment, could have been honest on stage at the reunion and been like, I'm sorry, I was scared. I wasn't brave in that moment. I didn't have the courage to speak out. I was more concerned about, my public image, which seemed to me is why she didn't say it. I don't think that she doesn't respect and like Alandria a lot and probably has, a lot of positive feelings towards Shelly too. It's that she didn't want to fuck up her rise to social media fame.
Or maybe she wanted Shelly to suffer and Alandria was just collateral damage.
Okay, that's a good point.
In that. Which fucking sucks for somebody who was supposed to be a real friend to you.
Yeah.
Especially if, when you think you have that genuine friendship and someone, you go to them asking like a heartfelt ask and something that's this meaningful, it's like, I guess we weren't really friends then.
Right.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Alandria said.
And that is pretty much what Alandria said.
Yeah.
Now, what bothered me is that we never put a name to what Huda was doing with Chris, which I would call sexual assault. And I feel like it was never put a name to ever. And, since she's been out of the house, nobody's been like, hey, so when you were sexually coercive toward Chris, when you were counting down trying to make him fuck you or whatever was happening, that was weird. Why'd you do that? Nobody said that. They just played it. She giggled through it.
Her laughing at her own montage was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
I didn't like it at all.
No, that was awkward. And Chris stood on business and was just like, don't fuck with your vibes. I'm a very forgiving person, but no, we will not be friends. And he frankly seemed like he didn't really want to be there.
Right, got me siding with a fucking Tory Lane supporter. Huda, don't piss me off.
Oh, God.
Why would you have me side with that man?
Chris is a Tory Lanez supporter?
Allegedly.
Oh. Okay.
Allegedly.
We need to confirm.
Yeah, we have to do a deep dive.
Yeah, so he kind of he stood on business literally and was just, spoke his piece. And then we also saw, in relation to Huda, we saw the BTS of the heart rate challenge. We saw the unseen bit that caused a lot of drama between Shelly and Huda, because Shelly was with Ace at the time, and Huda in the challenge got all up on Ace. Did
you guys think it was as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No.
Yeah, okay, me either.
It wasn't
No.
as bad.
It made Shelly look a little funny.
Yeah. It made Shelly look a little
I think the ass in the face at the end was probably what you could have said crossed the line. But when
Chris was also
I said when Chris was in Shelly's
legs,
that was
worse.
Putting her in that was worse. That was worse.
That was worse.
That was worse. 100%.
Did Ace spread her butt cheeks, or am I tripping?
No, he did.
He did, right? Yeah. He spread her butt cheeks.
Yeah.
I think.
Wait, Ace spread
Huda's when she at the
end.
end.
I didn't see that. He put his hands on her.
I think he spread her butt cheeks. I think Shelly was rightfully annoyed, but not at the correct party.
Yeah. Ace.
Yeah.
Should have been the reciprocal that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Shelly was right to be mad, but not at the right party. She should have been mad at Ace and not Shelly.
Ace got his hands spreading her butt cheeks.
I didn't see the spread. I didn't see the butt cheeks.
I thought that was weird.
I thought the Chris in her legs was also like, so I was like, you can't say that when that happened to you.
Yeah. Right. It's one thing to be annoyed, and it's another thing to like harbor that and try to make it into something serious, because it's like, okay, yeah, that was annoying. I didn't like any of it. I wouldn't have liked any of it. If I were Ace, I wouldn't have liked it. If I were Shelly, I wouldn't have liked it.
And that came on the heels of an unseen scene between Shelly and Huda talking about Chris was also played, where it seemed like Shelly also was kind of not representing that situation correctly.
I've never been on the wrong side of history before. I can't believe this happened to me.
Similarly, I think it's hard to, I'm going to give Shelly a lot of grace, because it is hard to like eloquently articulate a situation, remember what went down, express your feelings. And so, yeah, it is easier said than done. I'm sitting here being like, yeah, she could have explained these things a little bit better.
For sure. And if this is already somebody that you don't really like, so if Huda comes to you and you already like kind of don't fuck with her that much, but you haven't really said it, and then she gives you this proposition about a man that you are interested in, and she's like, yeah, I kind of like him, but like you like him too, so I feel like maybe I should just bring him back. Maybe in Shelly's brain, she sat there thinking this bitch is trying to frame it as though,
exactly,
and she didn't hear anything else that Huda said, because she just like, here she is again on more bullshit, as she always is.
Yep. I can see Shelly also rolling her eyes every single time Huda was like, I love you so much. Shelly's like, stop fucking saying that.
Shelly kind of leads with feelings and not facts, as we learned from our producer,
Which
Emma,
is crazy, because she's a Virgo. They don't even do that.